Hello and welcome to this section. Before we continue, I'm going to take you through a process. The first thing we ought to do before we start the website, before we dive into our code editor. Now, the first thing we should do at any of the folder or your document or your desktop, the first thing we need to do is to create a new package folder. So how do we do that? We come down here, right click, then go down to new and click on folder. So let's give it a name. Just give it my project. Alright, enter that project. So you've created the new folder for the course of this class. But that doesn't stop there. We have to enter the folder, and inside the folder we create another nested folder, because when working on projects, it is of a best practice to create a folder, create one folder, and inside the folder we create some subfolders so that we can be able to track our development, track the process of our web development when we are building and creating HTML documents and files. So we open a new one, new folder. So we give that my first class. Okay, so we give that my first class. Now the next thing we ought to do, so inside this my first class, we are going to have 3 more folders in it. So create a folder for image. Alright, so we need image. You create another folder for files. Let's say HTML files. Okay, so let's make it 2. I think 2 will be okay for now. Okay, now we are good to go to our code editor. So I'm using the Visual Studio Code. Now let's go down to the file section, then go to add folder to workspace. You click on that. We go down to our desktop, and we open a folder called my projects. So click on it. Then we have my first class. So click on that, then you will see this button here for add, then click on it. It takes you down this particular to the Visual Studio Code. So we have a package. I had the package before, the web course, so I'll take it off. Remove folder from workspace. Okay, now we have the folder my first class. Inside that folder we have the HTML files and we have the image. Okay, now let's go down to the HTML file. Okay, so you see that this, I click on it, it comes down. Immediately it comes down, I'll come down here, we have new file, click on new file, then we have index.html. Okay, now every time you open a new HTML file, it is important to know that when saving that HTML file, it should be saved with the extension .html. Okay, and the reason why I'm using the index right here is because the index represents the landing page. Okay, for instance, you come into a website for facebook.com. So you see Facebook has a landing page. the landing page is saved with the index. Okay, so just the way we have it here, we have the index.html. That's meaning saying that this particular file is standing as the landing page. So let's click enter. All right, so now we have our index file, and we are ready to code.